What I'm trying to do? Well, clearly I'm trying to find something in my ever-growing stash of vintage patterns to knit with linen yarn. That must have been abundantly clear, right? It is the end of summer, maybe even autumn when you're seeing this, but for me, I'm going to go on holiday to the south of France in about 2 weeks, and I want to be prepared with a linen top. And since I've inherited all my grandmom's patterns and stuff, I kind of want to use this as my pattern library more than just doom scrolling on Ravelry. Yes, oh, this might be something. Yep, can I find the pattern though? Because my grandmom has been tearing out stuff and not putting it in order. Well, probably she was trying to put it in order, but didn't get the time to do it. So now, who would have thunk that in my collection of vintage patterns, there is only a limited amount of summer editions? This is all I have. This one might be a little bit risque, if you get what I mean, especially if you don't wear anything underneath like she is doing. It is, however, very pretty. Another open work knit, just like this one. I guess I just have to do some math right now to determine which pattern we will be knitting. I have a limited amount of linen yarn. I'm going to show you what I have. I haven't. Oh my god, chaos is reigning supreme again. I've got 4 balls of this, the Rerum Natura Antigone, in the color biscuit, because I like it. This is linen from Normandy, cultivated without pesticides. So yeah, I have got 400 grams, each ball is 260 meters. Let's do math and see which pattern I can make. Sadly, wasn't able to find the instructions for this one, because that would have been perfect, because it is already the exact color that I need. Let's take this one first. Summer Dream, the very risque one. Well, well, well. Multilingual instructions, it seems. There we go. Gehaakt damesbloesje. You would need 4 skeins of cotton in this case, of which 50 grams is 370 meters. That would mean, well, not enough. Now, let's try these. This one would work. We'll keep that one in mind. And then we have these 2 tops, both the white and the black one I like. So that's model 18 and 19. What? I don't think this can be right. They asked me to use a yarn, a cotton yarn, which measures 10 meters per 50 grams. And you only need 400 grams, so that would mean 80 meters. I think it would be 100 meters. I think there is a typo. But that would work. And the other one would too. I have chosen the black one. It'll be interesting to see how this will look in biscuit instead of black. Oh, my skein is really disintegrating. But let's cast on. I was chased out of my studio by my husband and his band, who you might hear right now. But I just wanted to tell you right now, for a moment, that while we already have this bit of ribbing, knitting with linen is surprisingly hard. My yarn keeps wanting to split. I think that might have to do with the way this was spun and the way I knit. But we persevere, because I want a nice linen top for on my holiday. little bit confused with the pattern. I'm now starting like the azure motif. It says that I should start with knitting 1 border stitch, then the first stitch of the pattern, and then 10 repeats of what they call the rapport. Now, if you look at this, I'm going to try and have you see it clearly. So this would then be the first stitch, and then this is the rapport. But if you only repeat this, then you will never have this bobble in your repeat, because that's outside of the rapport, quote unquote. But every time like the pattern crosses, there is 4 bubbles. So I do have to include this first stitch in my repeats, I think. I mean, it's not the first inconsistency of this pattern. As I said before, it says you have to use a yarn that is 10 meters per 50 grams, which is completely absurd. And it also says it is made for sizes 38 to 30. That clearly has to be 38 to 40. So I am doubting the editor of this magazine. I have understood. It is 1 slight sentence, 7 alineas ago, that says that you have to mirror this. Bad editing. I'm going to blame it on bad editing and not me reading everything. Bad editing. That's it. Now we know that we have to mirror it, and then it does make sense to not always knit that first stitch, because it will be also one of the last stitches you knit when it's mirrored. They probably didn't have enough space to just draw out. Oh my god. They didn't have enough space to draw the entire picture. English, I can speak it. I'm right now at a spot in knitting of this linen top where I am pretty sure that there is actually a mistake in the pattern, and I don't have enough brain power to think it through. And secondly, and probably more important, I don't like it. I don't like the pattern with this yarn. So I'm just going to start over and find another pattern. I'm thinking this blouse over here, this is also with a lace azure pattern. If it is in the end that I don't like lace with linen, then I might just take the directions for this one, but just knit it in plain stockinette. Let's try. I was also not really surprised that there was a mistake in the pattern. As I have pointed out 2 times already, there have been a lot of silly editing mistakes in it. I'm not sure if I trust that particular issue of Sandra anymore. Or is it Sandra? Yeah, because this one is Sabrina. With having to start over, when we left for our 12-hour journey towards the south of France, I only had half a piece. Luckily, the motif or the pattern that I choose for my second try of a linen top was the one that I liked. By the time we got to Lyon, I was finished with the first piece. I'm not saying front or back piece because both are actually identical. So in the end they will both get worn as a front or a back piece anyway. We are now in Monteux, our final destination for this trip, and I've got a little bit for a second piece already. I am hopeful that I will be able to enjoy my linen top in this here vacation in the south of France. This first bit actually took less than 1 skein. That is nice, I guess. Let me show you the lace a little bit more up close. It's actually just a zigzag motif, nothing groundbreaking actually, but I like this one a lot more than the first pattern that I tried. I think it is because it has a knit stitch background and the other one had a purl stitch background. I don't know, that's my reasoning. Here it is. Very see-through, because you can actually just see my outlines through it. We found a skate park in the village we're residing at, but I'm still convinced I am practicing the cooler of two hobbies. Don't you think? An observation that I want to make on this knitting with linen is that it is not forgiving for any lapse in tension. It shows so clearly when your tension is a little bit off. It's a punishing yarn. But I do hope that blocking it might even it out altogether. We'll see in the end. But it's very punishing. Oh, it's punishing. I'm also not a 100% sure how I should knit these balls of this linen yarn. My first piece I knit from the outside towards the center of the skein, and that fell apart. It became a big tangle in the end, and now I'm knitting from the inside towards the outside and it falls apart. It is becoming a big tangle. Yeah. What even has happened?
Eh, bonsoir. Bonsoir. Vous allez bien? Oui, 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 bien sûr.
I might be at the halfway point of my vacation, and as you can see, I'm still not wearing a hand-knit linen blouse. Might have been lollygagging too much. However, I do think we're not that far off right now. Let's check for a moment. Yeah, that feels about time to start doing the decreases for the neck. And then we can block both pieces, sew them together, and then, you know, I think today is Saturday. On Monday I'll be able to wear it. Yes. Friends, it is time to block these two things. However, it's going to be quite an adventure. For I do not have my blocking mat nor my blocking pins. We'll have to do well with whatever we find here in the holiday home. So as predicted, it is Monday morning, and I'm able to wear my vacation linen top, blouse, whatever you want to call it. That means I still have got approximately a week to flaunt it around the south of France. And, well, I quite like it. It's, I think, a very classy, elegant, unobtrusive garment. I don't really have the words for it. What I want to say is, while it is a late 80s to early 90s pattern, it doesn't read that way, right? It reads kind of timeless. It reads 2024 as much as it does 1984. And the fabric will keep me cool, nice and refreshed, even when it is still 36 degrees Celsius over here. But some real talk now. I did not enjoy knitting with this linen yarn at all. This top used approximately half of the skeins that I have. I'm not sure when I will use up the other 2 skeins. It will probably not be in the very near future. The yarn split when I was knitting, or untwisted itself actually, and then you just had 5 loose strands of linen, and then I had to knit very carefully and mindfully and slow, while I am actually someone who wants to knit fast and mindless and careless. It also just, the skein itself untwisted itself all of the time. I had to wind it up in a ball myself multiple times. I don't like that. I do not like that. So I had quite a bit of frustrations with this yarn that I pressed on, and now I have a nice top that I actually like, but that make me not want to cast on with this particular yarn very soon again. I might, however, if this top proves to be the absolute staple of my vacation wardrobe, then maybe I might be convinced to try this linen yarn again. But right now, nope. That's just, it wasn't my jam. Just give me wool, please. Yes, give me all the wool, and I shall be content. But I think a lot of you crafters understand that feeling of not really liking the material, but liking the outcome in the end. So it was a good thing that I pressed on. If you have a similar story, please do tell me down in the comments. And well, I am just going to enjoy this nice, way too hot weather in my very cool linen blouse. And I will see you in a next video. So if you like these kind of fiber shenanigans, then maybe you could like, comment or subscribe. But of course that is all up to you. And as I said, I will see you in the next video. But before we do that, maybe here are some other knitting shenanigans. Bye-bye!